Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Spiritually Fly. I'm your host and your guide, Faith Hunter. By listening or watching this podcast, you are taking steps to rebuild your life, learn ways to courageously live out your dreams, or maybe you're here to unlock your potential, break free of unhealthy patterns, and gain techniques to manifest your desires. Just think, by showing up, you are giving your body, mind, and heart time to reset. You know why you are here, so let's drop into the power of self-healing and step into a place of self-care. Along the way, I'll provide you with science-based yet spiritually grounded practices that will enhance your life and elevate your soul. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Spiritually Fly. I am your host, your guide, Faith Hunter, and I'm so delighted that you are tapping in, and joining me today, taking a listen, taking a watch, however you're viewing or experiencing this podcast. Welcome. This is episode 2. Yeah, episode 2. It's like, oh my God. Okay, I'm still excited because episode 1 happened. Now we're doing episode 2. And you're probably wondering what we're going to talk about today. Well, today we are going to talk about following your heart. Following your heart. Now, I want to set this up in a way so that you kind of understand the direction. Spiritually Fly experience, right? I talked about this, I think, in episode 1 that I taught a yoga class, or I know for a fact I explained a little bit of it in my trailer. But I owned a yoga studio in DC. It was my first yoga studio. And that's kind of when I came up with Spiritually Fly. You see, one of the things that happened and occurred was that I used to teach this Sunday morning class. Well, for those of you that may or may not know, I am from Louisiana. I grew up in the country. I am from Grambling, Louisiana, if you know Grambling State University. There's a town there and people live there. And I've actually lived there. And I went to college there as well. I did undergrad there. But I love Sundays. I mean, even though I talk about in episode 1 and I talk about in my book as well that I curse God, that aspect of spiritual connection, regardless if I'm going to church or not going to church, like wherever I am in my spiritual journey, I am always staying aligned to spirit in all forms, right? And so when I owned a yoga studio, I always wanted to teach a Sunday morning yoga class because it felt good, it felt yummy. And when I taught the one at my first yoga studio, Shakti Mind Body, when I taught there on Sunday mornings, it was so lit. Like church was happening, like seriously. And there were moments when I would share the yoga, the meditation, the breath work, like whatever we were moving through, the mudras, the mantras, right? We were chanting. Sometimes Aretha was playing, like, it was, oh my goodness, like it was all the things. Drums. I mean, yeah, I'm just reliving this right now in my mind and actually in my body. But when those moments were happening, it wasn't just moving for me, right? But it was moving for everyone in the space. And what was transpiring is the creation of Spiritually Fly, but on a really simple yet powerful level. What was happening is that all the individuals that were coming to practice in that space were moving through and stepping into their purpose, following their path, living out their dreams. Because they were surrounded by other individuals with that same deep desire. So when I decided to switch the name to, because I just called it like a vinyasa yoga class or something like that, Sunday morning class, I decided to switch the name to Spiritually Fly. I did not come up with the name. Actually, one of my students that was taking the class assisted me in coming up with the name. So this particular student will show up to my yoga studio every Sunday, and she would probably, she actually took classes throughout the week, but she would come on Sundays, practice. It was amazing. But then one Sunday she came to me and she was like, "Oh my God, Faith, I don't know if I can come back on Sundays anymore." And I was like, "Okay, it's cool. I'll see you in the middle of the week." But what happened was that she was having a spiritual challenge. And it wasn't with the spirit in her heart, right? She wasn't feeling like she was being pulled away from her spiritual alignment or spiritual connection or her religious beliefs. What was happening is that someone external was making her feel guilty about practicing yoga on a Sunday. And it was her pastor. And her pastor was saying that he was missing her and blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And so she asked me, she's like, "Faith, what should I do? Should I go to church on Sunday or should I show up to yoga on Sunday?" I was like, "Girl, you have to do what feels right for you. You have to follow your heart, follow your own path. Do what is going to feel good and feel right for you. I cannot guide you. I can only hold space for whatever decision you decide to make. We'll be here." Right? Meaning our studio, our space will be here. So the next Sunday she shows back up. I was shocked and surprised, but I was also really happy because I figured she had made the decision that was right for her. So basically, at the end of class, at that second class where she showed up after informing me of her spiritual religious challenge, she's like, "I just want you to know that I've decided to come to yoga class at 11 a.m. here and do this class because I need it. I need it for my body, my mind, and my spirit. This is church for me. I'm surrounded by people that are like me because my yoga studio, we were like massively multicultural, like Black people were practicing yoga in DC at my studio in 2007. I'll just put that out there. And everybody else was showing up too. So she felt comfortable and supported and loved in that space. And she knew that when she showed up on Sunday, she was going to get exactly what she needed. So she said that she informed her pastor and told the pastor that she would come from time to time on Sunday, or she would also come on Wednesday for prayer service or Bible study. That's what it was, Bible study, which is great. And I inquired, I was like, "So what was it? Why did you decide to do this, beyond the fact that you were getting what you needed?" And she kept talking and sharing. It's just like, "Because my time here is so spiritually grounded. My time here is so fly and urban and hip." And like she's just naming all these words and just painting this amazing picture. And I'm just listening, I'm just soaking it up. And so I went back and told my business partner the next day. I was like, "Girl, I am changing the name of this class." And she goes, "Okay, cool. I'm changing it to Spiritually Fly." And she's like, "What is Spiritually Fly?" I was like, "I don't know what Spiritually Fly is, but I know that this class is Spiritually Fly." And so from that moment of my student following her heart, she inspired me to follow my heart. follow my heart to name the class Spiritually Fly. And from there, I continue to be a scientist, a spiritual scientist of these amazing practices, to dive deep into my wellspring of knowledge, dive into my intuition, and really start to uncover what it meant to be spiritually fly. So that particular yoga class started out as that, a yoga class on Sundays. And then over the course of years, it started to evolve because I wanted to make sure that I was being true to who I was. I was tapping into my intuitive connection to spirit, that I was also listening to what my students and my clients needed. But most importantly, I was listening to my heart. And my heart was saying, teach in this way, do it this way. It may not be the way that the yoga police are saying that you should teach a yoga class. But your heart is guiding you on a path that is going to support your spiritual evolution, but most importantly, is going to support the lives of others. It's going to impact the lives of others. It's like, oh my goodness, this is my mission. This is my mission, to create a spiritually fly path. Now, I didn't know at that moment in time what that path looked like. I just knew it has some yoga in it. I knew it has some meditation in it. I knew that I liked teaching mudras. But over the years, it has evolved. It has evolved into a lifestyle. It is involved into my lifestyle. And I know for a fact that other people are and have been experiencing a spiritually fly connection. And that's kind of what I want to continue to share in this podcast, are some spiritually fly techniques and tools. So let's get down to the tool for today. The tool for today, the practice for today is listening to your heart. So wherever you are, even if you need to like pause here and come back to it. So if you're driving and you're listening to this podcast, just go on and listen. Know that you need to come back to this spot and do this practice. We're going to do a nice little heart connection. We're going to listen to our hearts today. So get comfortable, find your seat, and we're going to do a mudra. So we are going to do Lotus Mudra. Now, if you're watching, you'll be able to see me, but I'm going to talk you through this if you're listening. You're going to bring your palms first together, and then you are going to keep your pinky fingers touching and your thumbs touching. And then the other fingers are going to spread apart. And you're creating like a flower with your hands. This is the Lotus Mudra, Padma Mudra. And I want you to bring the Lotus Mudra right to the center of your chest. So that means that the thumbs are going to rest right in the middle of your chest. And again, the pinkies and the thumbs are touching. The other fingers are spreading apart. Relax the shoulders. And you have the option to keep your eyes open or closed. It is totally up to you. And just simply breathe. Start to breathe deeply in and out of your nose. And as you breathe in and out of your nose, feel the hips grounded if you're seated. Feel the soles of your feet rooting into the earth if you are standing. And then bring your internal awareness right to the center of your chest, right where that Padma Mudra, that Lotus Mudra is resting. Now, this mudra is all about rising from the murkiness, rising from the mud, glowing and shining. And this is what I want you to do as you listen to your heart. I want you to be open. Open to receive the inner wisdom that is dying to come out. What does your heart desire? And all you need to do is breathe and bring your awareness right to the center of your chest as you hold your heart in your hands. Simply be and breathe. And let's take 1 minute to listen. Keep the breath flowing in and out of your nose. And listen. Now take another deep breath in. Exhale. If your eyes are closed, start to open them and definitely relax your hands. And whenever you get a moment, I want you to grab a piece of paper and a pen and just kind of write down whatever came to mind, right? Whatever your heart says that you need to do in this moment. If there was a burning question in your mind or there was a yearning, whatever it was, write it down. And just remember that in those moments where you feel uncertain, you're not quite sure of the next step, of the next path, of like you're clueless about what you need to do, right? You're searching outside for all of the questions, right? Or you're searching outside for all of the answers. Pause, breathe, listen to your heart. The mind has over thousands and thousands of signals and messages that are flowing through, right? Every single day. So, of course, the mind can sometimes send us on a crazy path. And a lot of times, the mind will send us in a place of fear. And tell us to step back, play it small, live that life that belongs to somebody else, listen to somebody else. But instead, when our heart speaks, when our intuition flows through the center of our chest, that place called the Anahata chakra, right? The heart center, when our intuition taps into that space and we truly find that moment of stillness to listen, the answers will come because the answers are sitting inside of you. So if you take nothing else from today's episode, is to pause once again, to breathe, and to listen in stillness. If it felt good to use that mudra, use it. Or maybe you just need to pause and breathe before you go to bed at night. When you're standing in the shower, oh my God, I don't know how many times I do that. I just like, oh, what am I supposed to do? Which direction am I supposed to move in? I just stand there in the shower, let the water pour over me, and I breathe, and I listen, and all is delivered. So take your time. Move mindfully through your rest of your day. Don't forget that you need to follow because there are more episodes coming. This is only episode number 2. Share this podcast, this show with your friends, your family, because this is more than just talk. This is spiritual action, transformative revolution. This is the spiritually fly way of living and being. It's about tapping into your deepest sense of self, harnessing all of your strengths through these practical, amazing tools, and then moving into your life with greatness. So there you have it, everybody. Episode number 2 of the Spiritually Fly podcast. Don't forget, you can always find me on all those social media channels, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Oh, I'm on Twitter too. I don't do that much on Twitter, but I'm there. I'm sharing some stuff. And of course, this podcast is all over the universe. So look forward to seeing you in our next episode. And if you haven't picked it up, oh, you better go get it, baby. The Spiritually Fly book that has tons of tools. Thank you so much, everybody. Again, this is Faith Hunter. And stay spiritually